All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm here, um, ready to talk about relevant things. I don't know. I'm not even going to ask my co-host what he wants to talk about. If it's okay with him, if he's fine. I'm not even going to look at the screen right now because I don't want
I
to.
have I have a question. Can I am I allowed to ask my or say my statement really quick before you get started? I don't want to take too much time if that's okay. Am I okay? I mean I
You the boss. What's up?
okay. First off, before you get started, I want to start out by saying that I apologize to my co-host. My co-host feels like that I slighted him in a such, and I don't want to be inconsiderate of his feelings. Uh, if he feels that the R. Kelly issues and things of that nature is relevant, I am here to not stifle him at all. So if he feels like that was all I was trying to do, that was not the case. So I apologize. I just said that me personally, I can personally, and again, personally do without R. Kelly because he's in jail. But I get why he's still relevant today. So I apologize. There, boom.
Well, we see Hitler documentaries, and the man been dead 100 years.
I can't even give an apology. I did it on air and everything. Go ahead.
Um, what I'm going to do is I wrote your apology down. I'm going to revisit this the next time we talk about R. Kelly and see your energy then.
I thought you was gonna say something. You was gonna be like, you was gonna put it in the same box with my mama's. Never mind. Keep going. Keep move on. Let's
No,
move.
this is also my death notebook.
Got
With that being said,
it. I hope you got my full name. It might be wrong.
look, with that being said, we are trying to get ahead of the game here. Thea, our reoccurring expert on all that is woman. We bring to her. We want that angle when she comes on. Get her perspective along with the juice in her life and the latest adventures that she goes on. People watch her segments for different reasons, right? But to get our perspective, this is just one part of a bigger picture, like the red pill movement. And if you don't know what that is, go look it up, study it. We'll go over it. We got a lot of different angles. We'll talk about this topic on this week. I wanted to focus on what do we think men want from a woman. In this instance, we're only talking about heterosexual in that way. No disrespect to any other, perspectives out there. Me personally, you guys love who you want, and you have your relationships as long as you guys agree. It's all on you. I don't, that's on you. As long as people ain't getting hurt, I'm good with it personally. But I'm talking about a movement outside of ourselves. This is called the Red Pill Movement. One perspective on it is how the conversation on what men actually want from women and what do women think men want from women, because there's a miscommunication that's occurring, in my opinion. A lot of times women will think they know what a man should want, and they confuse that with what a man actually wants. And women being put on a pedestal tend to think that what men should want is more important.
hmm
And so then they confuse that. That's what a man actually wants, right? They ignore what we really want. Because they think what they want is more important. And some co-hosts, I'll start with you. What is it that from your perspective, with this general conversation, always exceptions to the rule, what do you think men want from a woman?
Well, I I can say for my. I mean, I know we're not supposed to use ourselves, but I'm a man, right? So I feel that I mean, kind of in the groups that I run around, we have kind of a similar type thing when it comes to what we look for in a woman, what we want from a woman, I should say. I think one of the more common. denominating things out of that group, I would say, and this is just my opinion. Number one is communication. I think communication is a big key when it comes out of a woman, and not just from like a relationship standpoint. I know myself. I want a woman that talks. I can't read minds. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know how you feel without you speaking. Having a full blown, educated conversation with me about whatever's going on with you, or what you're wanting, or what you need, or whatever that may be. That's one big thing for myself. I do look for that. Is communication. That's number one. Number two, this one is a little tricky. So number two is intimacy, right? So for me, intimacy looks a little bit different than what intimacy is as of today. Today, the world is filled with, a magnitude of different sexual connotations when you look on the TV screen, when you look on the internet, when things of that nature. And it goes back to what my co-host says about what women think that we want, which is why that they do the things that they do. They showcase their bodies and this, that, and the other, publicize sex and things like that over the airways because they're feeling that's what men want. And I'll be honest, a lot of men want that. I'm not going to say that they don't. But to me, intimacy goes a little bit further than sex. Intimacy to me is, even if it's just me chilling on the couch, sitting watching a movie with my wife, just, hugged up, sitting there, arms around each other, whatever, on the couch, watching a movie. That's an intimate feeling for me. And I think it goes back to knowing what your partner looks for when with those type of things when it comes to intimacy, because everybody's intimate ways are different than the others. So that's another thing I think men crave for as well too. Is someone that's going to be intimate with them and understanding in that aspect. And then thirdly, I would say um, I guess loyalty, if you will. Some men look for a woman to stick by them in spite of and things of that nature. But a lot of men fail to realize that you can't expect a woman to be at you in certain ways if you're doing certain things that's contrary to them being loyal and things of that nature. And I get from the other aspect of that as well too. It's not my job to make this woman loyal. She has to be loyal on her own. But that is one thing that I think men kind of look for in women as well too. So those are my three things, just kind of spitballing off the head. I would think a man would look for is communication, the intimacy, and then also some loyalty as well too. So
Yeah. As far as when I generalize this, when we talk about communication, a lot of men maybe like they women over communicate,
hmm
and the way that women communicate is with their feelings, with
hmm
their emotions. And a lot of men, we're talking about mature men
yeah,
here. They're
yeah,
communicating with their minds and more logical sense,
yeah,
things that make sense, how to get from point A to B. That's the male mindset, and the woman is more I'm a feel. I guess it's all general, right?
yeah.
So communication, I think it's funny you say that you want communication from your woman, but I think what men want in this realm, to me, is more from the woman to understand how a man communicates
hmm
and
hmm
not try to make the man communicate on their level, not
Yeah.
try to make it overly emotional, um, from that male perspective, you
hmm
know. Um, and then when you said number two was intimacy, um, well, I understand that it's not just about sex. To me,
hmm
intimacy is flirting, it's quality time, things like that. But from what's the big trend going around? Men playing their games and they want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want some place to. So, from a woman's perspective, you're going to nag your man. You're going to get on him. You're going to harp on him about him playing this game, where his peace, his sanctuary, in his mental recovery, a safe place, right? As a man, you're not going to take it personal because it's not with you.
hmm
Are you going to allow that? Because intimacy in that regard is to respect the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
In that way. Now, I have a question for you.
Sure.
in the realm of intimacy, a woman that always got some excuse, some reason. Her head hurts. I'm tired. I had a
Mm-hmm.
long day. Um, XYZ,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now that woman is not looking at that man's needs when that becomes a pattern, right? You'll hear a lot of women that will say, "Oh, well, if only he did X, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe I wouldn't be tired."
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got a conversation that happens in a lot of these places, right? Do the man ever take off when it's time when it's his job to protect the woman?
No, not to my knowledge.
One of the biggest things I seen, it was shout out to Fresh and Fit podcast. It's their conversation. Myron a lot of times they'll say, "Well, there's the home intruder. Hey, babe, I'm gonna take a break this time. It's your turn."
Mm-hmm.
No, the woman expect 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ain't no one saying the woman got to do something outside of
Yeah.
her consent, right? But
Yeah.
the mindset where the woman makes that thing is more about control a lot of times. It's more about manipulation. It's
Yep.
more about a reward
Yep.
than
Yep.
it is about meeting this man
His
needs. That's your
needs.
man,
That's right. That's right.
right? That's your man.
Yep.
Now,
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I know you're not a God fearing person. I know that you're not. You don't believe in God, things of that nature. But this is a actual what you mentioned is a basic point or a principle of marriage when it comes to in the Bible. It speaks about when you become one, your body becomes the man becomes the woman's. That you're both intertwined together. You both bodies. So if this woman's needs to be met in this particular area, intimacy is what we're talking about. The man needs to meet that need, and vice versa. If the man has that in his area that he needs, the woman needs to meet that as well because you're both intertwined together as whole. I just thought that was really funny that you mentioned that. I was like, that's literally a basic principle in marriage when it comes to in the Bible. If you're a believing Christian, things of that nature. So
well, the narrative on this, as I said, we're just planting the seed right now. We're introducing the conversation to our audience. I want Thea she watches faithfully. I want her to understand our mindset. But the thing about this though is, 100 years ago it wasn't a problem,
nah, nah,
and also 100 years ago it wasn't necessarily the most conducive for women.
yeah,
But with more freedoms that a woman has, more choice, more equality, the empowerment of what is woman in that area,
mm-hmm,
without getting graphic on the show, the empowerment of that, putting that on a pedestal,
yeah,
has has kind of flipped things.
mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm,
caused an upheaval whether it's a biblical narrative, whether it is a scientific narrative, where you know it's funny. I seen a study. They say I think it was like 60% of men throughout history have never reproduced.
mm-hmm,
Maybe it was 70, like something like that. 60, 70% of men have not produced throughout history is the estimate, but
mm-hmm,
80 to 90% of women have
mm-hmm,
reproduced.
mm-hmm,
And they were like, well, what is this numbers? It's because throughout history, 30, 40% of men are with multiple women.
yep,
Now, I
yep,
know it's not a biblical thing in the modern era
yeah.
necessarily about multiple wives, but that is in the Bible.
Yeah, it happened in olden times. Absolutely.
Men, for a lot of times, have more than one woman to satisfy that need, and that's why that was never an issue. Sometimes in marriages when
I
it
mean,
came
you.
to that.
I mean, you think of Solomon. Solomon had over 1,000 women. So
I'm not advocating for anything. I'm saying you can make this work
but that's
in
true. I'm just giving you,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's
You
true.
can make this work in a monogamous relationship, but the mindset
Yeah.
can't be, I'm going to use this as elation. I'm going to use this as a reward when he does right, like a dog and a treat.
Right.
I'm going to use this only when I want something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be selfless in that if you actually are looking to your other partner and their needs. And the third thing you said was, what was it?
Loyalty.
Loyalty comes with communication. But I think here's the key to this, and this is where I want Thea's conversation at. She's kind of described certain things that she wants out of a man. She has told us short men ain't it for her, right?
She has said that, yes.
It's something like 30% of men are 6 foot. Only 30% of men are 6 foot or taller.
It's not a lot. Not a lot. That's correct.
When you get to over 6'3", it's something like 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's just go with 6 foot and up. Even though Thea may be more particular, right? Then you say, I want a man earning a certain amount. Thea ain't gonna be with no broke.
Right. Right.
So they say, I don't know what her standards are, but let's just say that the stats was something like, 100 men making 100,000 or 70,000 or whatever. That 30% of men shrinks to like 15%. 6 foot and under, making 70 to 100,000 or more is like 15% of all men.
Mm-hmm.
You still got 100% of women right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you already got where a lot of these women want the taller. Let's say you're in shape. You think all 15% of men making it? So we're going to shrink it down even more, right?
Mm-hmm.
The point of this exercise was to say, when you plug in all these attributes, right, that these women, huge slews of women want the same 2 to 5% of men. And that's not feasible. So then you say, well, this is where the Kevin Samuels and that kind of thing came about. Well, what do we need to do to even this out? Women need to be more realistic. They're like, I'm not lowering my standards. Well, then if you don't want to lower your standards, then are you okay with sharing your man?
Yeah.
Because that man is what we call a hot commodity. All you women are dime a dozen. This man, how many fine women out the world? How many Instagram this and that? How many chasing this and that, right?
And here's the caveat to that. They're describing essentially a perfect man that you're looking for, and yet they're not perfect. So why would the perfect man want an imperfect product? I don't.
So that's why I say you lower your standards down to equal yourself, but women are delusional.
Yeah.
So then, okay, you say, okay, well, we're not going to do that. So then now you have to suffice that you got all these women that want this man that's in commodity. He has choices. Are you willing to be his number one, but not his only one?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what we would do. I'm saying that's what a high value man, he's got choices. You could take that lifestyle, you leave it. A lot of people are calling this toxic masculinity. A lot of people are calling this, excuses to be a player or this or that. I'm just broke down math. I didn't think math was sexist. I didn't think math was this or that. These are about choices where women have a delusion of what's been sold to them. And guess what? This is a Western thing.
Yeah, they want the perfect man to lower their standards.
Africa, Central America, South America, much throughout Europe.
Yeah.
As we know, their standards are a lot less too.
Yeah.
They accept a lot more flaws than, Middle East, Southeast Asia, all these areas, except for where? The West. Those women the culture is relationship. The culture is take care of your man, right? Yeah. The culture is I want to be a mother and a wife. We're raising independent women that can, what was the WNBA, anything you can do, whatever. So Anyway, we're coming up against it, boss. This is a seed that's planted. You got the comments on it. If you got thoughts, leave it. But Thea, we're coming for you on this conversation. I want to know what your thoughts are on a slew of topics. This is just one of many. Take us home.
Yep. very good start, and very good thought process behind it. So I definitely am looking forward to the responses, including our very own Miss Thea B. So we'll see what comes of that. So, but we are out of time. We are out of here. Catch us next week on the Morning Smoke podcast here on JQLM Radio from 10 to 11 a.m. We are also on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok at the Morning Smoke podcast. We're also on Spotify and Anchor.fm. So check us out on all of those areas. We greatly appreciate it. But until next week, we will see you. Peace out.